I will call the meeting to order. Begin with pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States to the republic, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Right away there at the beginning, just make sure we had enough agendas printed for everybody who would want one. So welcome everyone. Wonderful to see everybody here. Great turnout. Thank you for that. We'll turn it over for the call roll to Mr. Nair. Mr. Jackson. Here. Mrs. Lewis.
Here.
Trevor.
Here.
Mr. Trainer.
Here.
And Mr. Ray. Here. All right, first item up for approval is the agenda for this evening. Any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes. On page 4, we have for the esports robotics program, and the adjustments we just made, the pay amounts were added to that, just to expedite that process. And so those are those will be approved and the minutes are approved. On page 10, there's an add at the bottom there, number 10, Kathy Truman's Substitute Kitchen. And then on page 11, we have 2 ads there, Katie Moore, physics class consultant teachers for the coming school year. And that is it. Second.
Mr. Cash? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Rayner? Yes. All right, next item up for approval consideration is the minutes from the July 19, 2021 special board meeting, and also the July 20th, 2021 regular board meeting. Both were at draft copies announced at the time. In the meetings, with adjustments other than what Mr. Ferguson noted with these boards. Other than that, no changes.
Motion to approve.
Second. Mr. Cash? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Travis?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Ray? Yes. We do have a few recognitions, I think at least one for sure. Mr. Ferguson will do, and before we hear from our administrators back, we can move to our public comments. So, Mike?
Okay, first of all, I'd like to recognize the custodial staff. It's been an amazing job of getting things done. The building's looking great all the way around. They're working very hard and working around some obstacles. So I just thank them for all their efforts to get things done in time for school, and things are looking great. I'd also like to thank our supporters of the gala. Last weekend's gala events, Philpott Gala, raised over $31,000 for and that is by far the most that has ever been raised in that for this function. Especially big thanks goes out to Genoa Bank, who engineered a good bit of that. A lot of work that goes in that they put in along with our boosters. And it's a big thanks to our sponsors. There's a lot of people that stepped up, a lot of businesses that stepped up to sponsor that event. So we're very grateful for that support from our community. I would like to take a moment to recognize our new staff. Tonight we do have new staff this year, so I'd just like them, as I call them out, to stand up. So the first one, I'm saying this is new, she's new, but I don't know, you judge for yourself. Brenda Murphy. Dave Niswood, who is the assistant principal at the high school and middle school. Amy St. Marie, who is the elementary assistant principal. Christine Cerniak, and I hope I said your last name right, if you're here. Maybe you're here. Okay. She is our new music teacher. Kayla Radla. Caitlin Deppner, special ed. Bill Fisher, our new college and career readiness coordinator. And Lindsay Borges, new second grade teacher. So, welcome everybody. We're looking forward to having you and looking forward to a great year. We've got a great staff, and we know you're going to bring things into the program for us, so thank you. Okay. I'm going to turn it back over to you right now.
All right. Well, welcome to our new staff and administrators. It's an exciting opportunity, exciting time. I'm kind of a change addict, so I like when we get a infusion of new thought and new leadership, and that's exciting to me. So good luck to all of you. We will take this opportunity to go through our administrative team and hear kind of reports from each area of the district. Beginning with high school to our high school principal, Superintendent Mr. Ferguson.
Sure. Things are really getting in line, and again, we've got a good staff here that's helping get everything going. Obviously, a little late transition here, but we're almost there. We're just getting things put together, and we'll be ready for the opening day. I think we're going to have a great year this year. Again, we just have an awesome staff across the board, but as the biased high school principal in this setting right now, we have a really good staff, and we're going to take care of the kids' needs, and that's really what it boils down to for us. So we're in good shape, and we'll be ready.
Thanks. And a big thanks to Mike for stepping into the role of high school principal, one that he's had for 15 years prior to coming to Genoa, so he's more than capable of taking on his responsibilities. But I just want you to understand that at that late time of the summer, the board wanted to certainly take our time and make sure that we didn't rush into a situation. So we decided that we would go this route, and it's going to be beneficial to everybody while we take our time and make sure we fill all this position, as it should be.
Mr. Reitnauer,
yeah.
Mr. Rousen has extra copies of the agenda. If you raise your hand, if you need a copy of the agenda, he will come around to you. Thank you.
I got to face that. Our next administrator is Mr. Catafias, if he's available. You see Kevin? Kevin there? Okay, all right. And Brenda, you want to give us a report on how things are going over there as you transition back to the future?
2 weeks, we've been on it. I don't think I love them, but
For our online viewers.
gotcha. It's been 2 weeks since I've been back. It's been great. I'd like to echo what Mike said about the building. It looks fantastic. Considering I have 2 new custodians that started probably in June or July, they have done a tremendous job getting the building clean and ready. So I'd like to thank them. It's Devin, Jeff, and Tim. Great job. And they'll be rewarded tomorrow with breakfast for me and Amy. So we're excited. Enrollment at the elementary as of today. It changes daily. We have 560 students. So we have quite a large number of students. Keep an eye on kindergarten, we need to, and 3rd grade. Numbers are large in that area. 3 new staff members we welcomed in tonight, and we also have 2 new preschool teachers. So I wanted to make them known from North Point, but they still work with us. So getting new rooms ready, it's Summer Shelby. She has 2 first names. I always call her Shelby, but it's Summer Shelby and Mandy Hindle. So we're excited to have them on board. Spaces at a premium. If you look at the elementary, we're looking for spaces for tutoring, intervention. We have a full house, so we're keeping eyes on any extra classroom. Open enrollment, we're getting new students daily. We just need to keep an eye on this because they are filling up quickly. So I check my numbers every day. PTO reps, we're kind of rebuilding PTO this year. So that's all the class and teachers to have a list of PTO reps. 1 person or more to sign up to come to meetings. So we really want to encourage our PTO. They do so many great things for our school. We really need to build that back up. Levy support, I urge you to get on our committees. We're starting a Google spreadsheet at the elementary. We've already had about 5 names. So if you really want to be on our support in our committee, please sign up. We need your help. We have a great school system here, and we just want to let everyone know. Open house will be Monday, August 23rd. A school messenger went out, and you'll be getting a class dojo. So you'll get lots of communication from me and Amy this year. Just note, our open house is a staggered start, so we're trying to keep not as many people in the building all at once, so please follow that schedule. You enter the main entrance and exit through the cafeteria doors. We have PTO tables, Girl Scout counseling, all of our resources will be in the cafeteria. So looking forward to a great year. It's great to be back. We do have great staff. I'm telling you, the staff has been tremendous this year, helping out. If I can't find something, I ask someone and they say, here's a copy of it. So it's going to be a great year. I look forward to working with Amy. We're definitely a team this year. And again, the elementary staff that's here tonight, everyone's been great. So thank you. It's good to be back.
She basically covered it all, but I'm just thrilled to be here. I'm so glad to be in Genoa, to be where my daughter attends, with the community that I love. So just thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm proud to be here.
Very good. Cody, you got anything for us?
Yeah, real quick.
Cody McPherson, our curriculum director.
I'll make this quick, I promise you. Welcome back, everyone. I'm excited to get going here this week. Our teachers are going to be in Thursday, Friday. We're going to start off with some good culture building. I don't know if anyone's checked out the newly released book by John Gordon and PJ Flint called Row the Boat. It's going to be our theme this year. Check it out. We're going to harp it the entire year. It's going to be kind of our theme. We're going to row the boat through adversity, through times that can be difficult. We're going to row, all right? So I just want to quickly point that out. I'm excited to see our staff. We're going to ease our way into the year this year. And we have tremendous staff. All you do is check over the elementary, middle school, high school, and see them in there 12 plus hours working on the room. All All right, so we got some good people. We're going to continue to row the boat this year.
Christine, Christine out.
Yes, yes.
There we go.
Well,
First, I didn't see it, I couldn't find you.
Yes. First, let me say that the DTech Summit, and I asked Christine to come here today to speak about the DTech Summit, and she's going to give you a lot of the details, but just a great effort. This is the year 4 or 5.
Year 5.
Year 5. So, and obviously kind of forced into online situations this year and last year, but just a great turnout, but a great effort by Christine and Tom Baker and a lot of our staff that contributed to delivering some of the information in some of the sessions and just helping out. So, again, great kudos for all the efforts. But Christine, let's go ahead and talk about it.
Thank you, yes. For the past 5 years, we've been putting on this event. Mostly it started off for our educators here in Genoa, and it has continued to spread from all across Northwest Ohio to become international. And that's actually thanks to being virtual and COVID and all those things. So we've continued to keep it a virtual event, pulling in, like I said, people from all across the world. We had 600 plus people registered this year that attended. Awesome presenters. We had some great keynote speakers, but we definitely couldn't do it without our own staff that helped host these Zoom sessions, as well as our staff that attended. So some great learning experiences, a great way to kick off the school year and get some great ideas. So thanks for letting us do this.
Matt, anything from athletics? I'm sure you do, as long as fall season is busy, lots of kids participating.
So our fall sports seasons are about to begin. Golf has been underway here for a couple weeks. Most of the other sports start even this Saturday. Middle school football starts Thursday, and then cross country is the following Saturday. So we're excited to get the season kicked off. I do want to take this opportunity to thank. We had our Roll Post Gala event last week. We set a record this year. We raised $31,000 for the Genoa Athletic Boosters. I want to thank Genoa Bank for all the hard work that they do. Our athletic boosters, our Genoa administration, staff, and our coaches, and definitely all the community members who came out and supported that event. Our facilities are tremendous. We get a lot of compliments about our facilities here. Entirely funded by those at that event. No taxpayer dollars go into our facilities. Have gone into our facilities. This year we renovated our track, put a new track down, and renovated our softball facility, which looks great. And again, that's all funded through this event, through people in our community. So it's pretty impressive and pretty excited about it. So that's all I got. Any questions?
Just want to thank you, Matt, too, as well. I know you've done a lot of hard manual labor getting this all done and taken care of, so I appreciate that as well.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Matt.
Lauren.
Dave. Lauren.
I'm good. We're just excited to start the school year. So,
Excellent.
short school.
You got anything? Holly? Holly Campbell, you Matt?
Hi, everybody. Not really much to report on the teachers, and I just want to piggyback off of Christine. If you're not in education, it's hard to understand the time and effort that goes into something like the event that she created with the help of Tom Baker as well. And it's one of those things that you feel so proud to be a part of when you have people from other countries attending an event hosted by Little Genoa, and there's rave reviews all the time. We come away with such a huge wealth of knowledge, really energizes all the teachers and gets us excited, to start utilizing these tools to help our kids learn. Other than that, we were anxiously waiting to get in the classrooms. I think August 8th was the day that Mr. Ferguson said we could come in. I know there were people waiting at the door, ready to get in and start making their classrooms a magical place, but not so much in the high school. Amy Schlager always laughs at me about my billboards, but if you've ever been into some of those classrooms, they're amazing, and they spend hours upon hours doing that, getting ready for the kids. So we're all super excited, ready to have a great year. Last year was a little interesting, so we're excited to see the kids and start working with each other, and that's about it on our end. Thanks.
Thank you, Holly. before we open up to our public, what was it? Oh, Dave Booth.
No, all I've got is transportation is up and ready to go. If you do have changes, let us know immediately, please.
All right, thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
All right. Before we open the public time up to public comment time, I would just ask to make sure that anybody who's would like to speak tonight, that we obviously make our way down to the microphone so everybody can hear, our online participants can hear. And I would also ask anybody that hasn't signed in as a guest that you would do so on the sign-in sheet outside as well. I think I know why many of you are here anyway. Pretty obvious. There's all kinds of opinion out there, and obviously the board is charged with doing our very best to do what's in the best interest of our kids and our staff, parents, and all the family members, and really the entire community of Genoa. Our responsibility is to be in Genoa, and all of you. And we're going to try and do that. We certainly want to hear from you. Just ask that obviously the commentary, this number of people who I'm sure want to speak, maybe there's a lot, maybe there isn't, maybe there's just more observers, I don't know. But in order for that to happen in a fairly timely way, because we do have business that we have to take care of tonight, then we just ask you to keep your comments to the reasonable time limit. We don't want any filibustering and campaign speeches, so to speak. But I don't want to be the one to be cutting anybody off. I want to hear from you. And but at the same time, we have to keep things moving as well. Keep your comments, obviously directed at where they need to be. And we'll open it up to the public comments. Anybody who'd like to speak, please come down the aisle. And I don't know if you want to form a line, if there's a line, if you just want to get up and move to the microphones as the openings permit. But if there's public comment, please do so at this time. Yeah, just state your name and then.
Christopher LaPierre. What was the stance for now as to masks for school, of the school board?
Pardon?
I want to know where you guys' stance on right now is, where it's at, what your decision is, what you feel is the best interest of our children.
We're going to be making that vote tonight. That's the purpose of our meeting tonight, is to hear from you.
Okay.
And then we'll be voting based on the input we get from you and the discussions that we'll have.
Okay, well, can you provide any kind of documentation that has influenced your choices tonight?
Yeah,
Can you
provide
provide any kind of documentation that you are using to make your tool box tonight?
Certainly we can do that.
Okay. Is that distributed? Can it be distributed to us? Can we be informed well as to what choices you're making voting-wise and what information you're taking in to make that vote?
Sure, we'll be able to provide that.
Before the vote?
No.
No,
Why not?
because I didn't prepare to give documentation of the.
Why not? Do you not think that's relevant to us? Do you think that information is relevant to us to make sure that we know what information you're using to make a vote on? That would impact our
All
children?
that information is public to everyone.
Well, why is it that you're going to vote before you want to distribute that information? Do you think that's fair? That you can vote on something before you distribute information about how you make your choice?
We're going based on the county guidelines and taking all that information into account.
Guidelines.
We want to hear from our public. And we
Not
want to-
mandate.
Wait your turn.
If you want to speak, please come to the mic.
She's right, though. There you go. So,
There's what?
this information that you're using to make this vote tonight,
Right.
it needs to be, in all fairness, we should be able to see this information that you are going to make your choice about before you make a vote. It's not fair to make a vote and say, well, here's the information that we're going to give you.
Give me an example of what you would.
I want to know what kind of science that you're following.
I could give you
that will make
volumes of
your choice.
information that is out So we don't, I mean, there's,
What science has been peer reviewed, proven?
False information.
What information, why is it fair that a school board can make a vote before distributing information to the general public where our kids go? How is that fair? It's actually not fair. You make a vote on something and be informed, the general public should know the information you're making this choice on. All right, that's BS, and you know it. No rightful person and morally centered person will make a vote on something without saying, here, here's the information I'm making my choice on. Well, I'm wrong.
it's all the information that is
Where
available
is
to
that?
everyone.
I'm on right now.
Pardon?
Why is that information not available to us right now?
It is.
Sir, I would just.
Where?
Sir, I would just say.
Where can I go to get it?
Sir.
Where? It is available, so where can I get it?
Excuse me, sir, may I speak?
He answered, he said that it is available. He just said it is available. I want to know where it's at. He's saying that it's available.
You're saying that you want it
I want the
available here
information
tonight,
to make
you're not
your choice
having it
on it.
available here tonight, but I.
Well, then you just
I mean,
said
I
it.
can provide it.
So you just,
Happy to
like
provide
you
it.
said, it's
So
available.
then we would have to obviously cancel the meeting and start over. And
Maybe we
provide
should.
volume.
Before the vote is
Yeah.
done. Maybe we should before the vote's done.
Sure.
I think that should be actually discussed on, public here, that we make.
We're gonna take
make
a vote
choice
tonight.
upon. If you're not willing to give us information that you're gonna make this choice upon, there's no reason why a vote should take place tonight. We are entitled to the information before any kind of vote is done.
We don't get any special information that's not available to you or the general public.
Then I want to know the information that you are using to make this choice. I want to know where it's coming from and what information it is, so I can see it with my own two eyes and see the information you're taking in that will make you make your vote tonight. I want that information. I want it. I'm entitled to it.
Have you looked at the county?
So give me the sources where I can get this information prior to making a vote. You don't just bring us in and say that we have this information, but we don't have it here for tonight. Provide the sources
Sounds like the election.
where we can get it.
Have you looked at the Ottawa County Health Department website?
What's that?
Have you looked at the Ottawa County Department of Health, their website?
I'd be more than willing to, but if you don't tell us about this stuff beforehand, then we don't know where to go for information.
I use the Iowa County Health Department, I use the CDC, I use the
The
Ohio.
CDC?
Yes, sir. I use
Really?
the Ohio.
You use
The
CDC?
CDC.
You really use CDC, really? You know how ridiculous that statement is?
That's CCP.
I mean, am I wrong here?
You're not wrong, you're completely right.
Nope, you're right, bud. You're right.
Why are you all wearing masks right now if you're still worried about it?
Wait your turn to dance.
We haven't voted.
I'd like to answer that question very, very quickly. There's a website page out there that's Genoa Parents Against Masks. I have family members, I have friends on that group. I've gotten 0 phone calls from any of them. My number is available. Call the school, they'll put you right in touch with me. I've heard from none of you until this.
I didn't know you until today. I emailed you.
So I'll just say, it's pretty easy if you want the research that I've done. I just told you where I've done my research, and I even told you my decision. But you couldn't research who the school board president was and the vice president? So I would just say, research goes multiple ways for public officials.
So I was told about this tonight by my wife, and I decided I was going to be here.
School board meetings, public knowledge, every month. We're available. We're available. And I'll just say, we're available. I've made outreach to people I know disagree with me with intent. I've made outreach with many, many students. I called 6 today, or parents of students today. I've talked to employees. I talked to my own personal doctor. I talked to my daughter who's an ICU nurse. If you don't think this keeps me up at night, sir, you are mistaken. I would like to move through. We're gonna go to 2 minutes per comment because we have to move. There's a lot of you. We want to hear what you think. That's what we want to hear. But you don't know what I think. I haven't made a vote. You'll know when I make my vote.
I just want the information.
That's my job. My job is to come.
I want the information based on the choice on, that's all.
just told you.
I told you, and you insulted where I got the information from. You disagree with that information. Guaranteeing nobody agrees with everybody's information in this room. I think we can all agree on that. So if we can move forward.
I would just like to say that. Okay, sorry. My name is Megan Cornelius. I live at 20820 West Yale Street, Williston, Ohio. And I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak on the massacre of our children. I would just like to say that I do know that emails have been sent to you. So I'm not sure if you received those, but you should have. I have 3 children in the district. One will be in 5th grade, 2nd grade, and the 3rd is a preschool age child. Last year I did homeschool because I did not want my children wearing masks all school day. My 5th and 2nd grader have requested to return to the elementary as they're missing the social interaction with their peers. I would like to start by kindly, I want to express that word kindly, reminding you that your role as the Board of Education is to educate our children, not to make decisions regarding their health. The health concerns and decisions of our children should be left up to us, the parents. In the United States, there have been 349 deaths involving COVID in the ages 0 to 17. This means in that age range, you have over a 99.99% of survival. Please note that there were 842 deaths from pneumonia during the same time period for those same ages, 0 to 17. This information came from the CDC website as of August 4th, 2021. Have we ever masked up or closed down for flu or pneumonia? No. Why not? It is more deadly. Cases were never the main concern, though. It has always been about stopping deaths. That's what I'm here to enunciate. The current population of Ohio is 11.7 million. The latest data shows that deaths in Ohio from COVID are around 3 to 5 per day. Not a large number. In addition, the average ICU admissions are only at an average of 8 per day for our state currently. Again, 8 per day in the whole state. I quote Matt Walsh, "Do you know what it's called to force children to wear a mask for over 8 hours every day for a virus that poses virtually no risk? It's called child abuse."
That's right.
Delusional psychosis. Last school year, administrators across the United States mandated the use of masks in which long-term use has never been studied. What will the long-term effects be on young children wearing masks? Do you know? What are the health effects of breathing through those masks? Masks tested after being worn by children for a school day were found to be filled with germs. What about children learning to read who can't see their teacher or peers' faces? What about social interaction between students and seeing each other's facial expressions? What will masks do to their immune system? We don't know the answers to these questions. And mask efficacy, has been in question during the last 18 months. Dr. Dan Stock of McCordsville, Indiana stated that COVID-19 aerosol particles are small enough to transfer through any mask based on a study done by NIH. So I looked into this. I wanted to see if it was true. SARS-CoV-2 has a diameter of 60 to 140 nanometers, which is a billionth of a meter. While medical and cloth masks have a pore diameter that ranges from 55 to 440 micrometers. This means that the virus is 1,000 times smaller than those pores. One study compared Sweden to Michigan due to their similarity in population size. Sweden had 1.11 million cases versus 1.02 million in Michigan. But Sweden had far less deaths, 14,000 compared to 21,000. Sweden never mandated masks, which Michigan did, and only 12% of Swedes said they wore masks all the time. So how can we say masks work? How? And now we have a new scare, of course, which I'm sure you'll hear about tonight, the Delta variant. Did you know that routine tests for COVID-19 indicate whether a person is infected? They do not determine which variant has been detected. In order to determine which variant is present, they must use a special genomic sequencing test. The CDC does collect some samples, but then estimates of percentages are what is put out to the public. So no true numbers will ever be known. The current variant spike has shown rising cases, I know that, but they are estimated. And please note that deaths are not following the cases. If the U.S. follows the patterns of other countries who have had the variant first, such as the UK, India, and the Netherlands, we are likely to see the case count begin to decrease drastically in the next few weeks. We are already over the spike. The Ohio governor and local health department no longer have the power to issue blanket health mandates. As you probably know, Senate Bill 22 and House Bill 2-44 give the state's General Assembly the ability to reject any orders. My children will not be wearing masks this year, period. I ask that we place no restrictions, meaning no mask mandates and no social distancing on these poor children. It's only on our children. Please keep the mask optional. We should be in charge of our children's health. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ryan Cornelius, and I also live at 20820 West Yale Street in Williston.
You know her?
We're close. Thank you for this opportunity. Parents that want to send their children to school in masks ought to have that right to do so. But those that do not want their kids to continue to be muzzled should have that right as well. You here on this board are the ones to decide that today, so I want to talk a little about risk. In the 2019 to 2020 flu season, the CDC estimates there were nearly 600 influenza-associated deaths in children aged 0 to 17, which is similar to the 2017-2018 season. In the 2018-2019 flu season, the CDC estimates there were 480 influenza-associated deaths in that same range. If you want to talk about pneumonia, the numbers are even higher. In the entire 18 months since COVID started, the CDC says there have been 354 COVID-associated deaths in that age range. With over 4 million confirmed cases, that equates to a greater than 99.99% chance of survival. The CDC also estimates that the actual case number in that age range to be over 25 million, making those numbers even better. Does anyone know how many of those 354 were in Ohio? 7. And that's actually ages 0 to 19. The chances of our children dying from COVID is virtually 0. How many of you on this board or in this audience ever want to suggest that we should mask up our children and put them behind plexiglass because of the flu or pneumonia? How many doctors ever suggested we do anything remotely close to that? Because according to the CDC, these illnesses are clearly just as dangerous, if not more so, to our kids than COVID. Sean O'Leary, Vice Chair of the Committee on Infectious Diseases for the American Academy of Pediatrics, even admits in a Washington Post article, July 22nd, in general, for a kid under 12, the risk of them is not the same as influenza, but it's in the ballpark. So the same decision you've made during flu season, this is similar. In the same article, Jennifer Leiter, pediatric infectious disease specialist at New York University Langone Health, COVID-19 and the flu in children have the same morbidity. How many of you have pools or ponds? Drowning is the leading cause of accidental death in children aged 0 to 4. And in 2017, 395 kids under the age of 15 died from drowning. Include up to age 20, and it's nearly 1,000. That's higher than COVID. How many of you regularly drive your children around in a vehicle, perhaps even to school? In 2019, 612 kids under the age of 13 died while riding in a vehicle. Include up to the age of 18, and that number rises dramatically. Also, higher than COVID. There is no true zero risk of death with anything. To exist in this world, we must accept certain levels of risk. But when something poses such an incredibly small amount of risk like this, we shouldn't force radical changes to our children's daily lives in order to try and deal with it. And why do we want to continue to place this burden on our children? It clearly isn't to keep them safe. They already are. And if it is, then they should have been doing it long before COVID for every other deadly illness, and they would continue doing it forever. And it isn't to keep the adults safe. They can all get vaccinated if they want. And if you trust the efficacy of the vaccines, you should have very little concern for serious illness or death. So what would it be for you and everyone else that wants it to feel better? A security blanket that you think looks good and makes you feel good. That's it. I love my children, and I obviously never want to see them sick. But I believe it would be a shame and a disservice to all our children to continue forcing masks on them. I urge you to please keep masks optional. Thank you.
I really wish we would compare notes because I got all the same stuff as you guys. So between that and not knowing what you guys' stance on the mask, I don't know where I'm going to be swinging here, so I'm going to have to kind of ramble off from some of this. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. My name is Leary Snyder. I am from Clay Center, Ohio. I have 4 children with 1 on the way. I have a daughter who's in the 1st grade and a son in preschool. And with the pandemic, my daughter had to repeat the 1st grade because of the shutdowns that we had, and it really sucked. So, let's see, with what I have here, it said like out of this whole pandemic, 354 children died from this, which is sad, tragic, and it's, like he said previously, about 0% death rate. That's extremely rare, and when I look at these statistics for car accidents, our kids are more likely to die on the way here than they are to hit the virus. So, I mean, that's, yeah. I've already stated. I really wish I knew what your guys' stance was on this. I mean, can you give us any idea of what you plan on voting on? Or can I have some sort of transparency in here? No?
We're gonna,
There should be.
There needs to be some sort of transparency, you know?
we're gonna have a discussion about this before we vote.
Okay.
You'll hear from each one of them.
Okay.
So after your vote though, that's it though, right? That's it, and that's the way you're saying to go? There's
Could you
no-
tell your votes?
If we go back and we get nothing this time, so if we're brought here, let's say that we don't agree with your actual stance, that we can't come back and actually throw your vote out and say, hey, this is the
No,
way
you
it
can't.
is.
No.
That's not how it works.
So it's
And
elected?
It's not, it doesn't work that
That's
way.
why there's elections, that's why we need to elect, that's why in the fall, there's 3 board members up for election, you can, based on what we're here tonight, you can vote.
I will be.
But-
I'll be there or not.
Amen.
I will be coming.
Amen, you'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are on board too, because I got about the same things, I don't want to repeat much. All right, then, I think it's really unfair that the former president was able to host a party of 500 people with 0 masks, and they could do whatever they wanted to. So yeah, we have to follow all these rules and mandates, but they can go ahead and do whatever they want, they're the elected officials. So, I mean, this is America, not.
Communist China?
There we go.
CCP?
Yeah, that one.
No.
Thank you, sir.
Just real quick. I hope you guys actually see that as citizens,
Sir, can you
Americans.
come to the microphone so our online people can hear you?
Sorry.
Let's let our students hear. It's okay, man. You got it, girl.
Go for it. You got it. You got it.
Maddie, you can just say how you feel.
You can stand next to her.
Can I just ask her a question? You don't want to wear a mask, right? Okay. Got it.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak this evening. Some of you know me already, but for those of you that do not know me, my name is Dr. Julie Swartz. I live in Curtis. I will be happy to give you my address after the meeting, but I don't want to publicly say that out loud right now. I am a mom of 3 children, 2 of whom attend Genoa Elementary. I am a board-certified emergency medicine physician who has been working in the emergency department at Mercy St. Vincent Medical Center in Toledo for over 11 years. There is a very good chance I have taken care of someone in this room or one of your loved ones in this time period that I've been there. Before I go on to my first remarks, I would like to just make some comments to you guys from what was said before to kind of rebut a few of those things. I know I sent some resources out to you from the Journal of the American Medical Association, from the American Academy of Pediatrics, as well as a couple of rebuttals to Dr. Stock's comments that were made at the Indiana School Board meeting that I hope everybody here realizes that he is not actually a board-certified physician in any recognized American Board of Medical specialty. He did not complete a residency, so in the medical world, that is a huge red flag. Nobody today doesn't complete a residency that's recognized by the American Board of Medical specialty. So please keep that in mind with his comments. The other thing that I think is interesting is, as an emergency medicine physician, I know risk very well. I see what happens every day to people who take risks, whether risks that we all take every day or sometimes not the smartest risks. Something that wasn't mentioned with the deaths in car crashes, influenza, all of those things that were mentioned, the things that we mitigated the risk last year with COVID, we don't know what the deaths from COVID would have been in children or adults had we not been social distancing, wearing masks, doing all the things that we were doing at that time. Or also to go to car crashes, we mitigate the risks of going into a car every day by putting our children in car seats and wearing a seatbelt. Right now, if I would have not put my children in a car seat for the last 7 years that they've been alive, they would have been alive still today 100% of the time, but I still strap my kids into the car seat. So we need to mitigate risks. If it's as simple as wearing a mask, that's what it is. So to go on with what I had prepared. I'm here tonight to speak directly to you, Mr. Ferguson, and the gentleman and lady of the board, to urge you to continue to require masking for this school year, at least until all students have the opportunity to be vaccinated.
Killing children! Genocide!
I believe this will give us the best chance of keeping our students in school this school year, and I believe that is what your goal is as well, is to keep everybody in school in person this year, and I believe masking is what's going to allow us to do that. I applaud all of you for keeping our children safe this past school year, and worry that ending precautions too soon will lead to regrets. In the district-wide...
Just need to leave. If you're gonna keep doing that, just leave, all right? Everybody that stepped up there had respect. You need, just because you don't agree, doesn't mean they don't deserve the respect. So either listen quietly, and you can get back up if you need to. Otherwise, let us speak, please.
In the district-wide email that was sent out by Mr. Ferguson on July 28th, it stated that all of you were waiting on further clarification from the Ohio Department of Health and our county health department before you made a final decision regarding masking for this school year. It also assured us that you would ultimately do what is best for the health and safety of our students and staff. In the past 2 weeks, I feel that both the Ohio Department of Health and the county health department have both made it abundantly clear that requiring all students and staff to wear masks is the best and simplest way to keep our students and staff safe. Let's go through this in a bit of detail. First, the Ohio Department of Health states, and I quote, "Masks have been proven to be extremely effective in slowing the spread of the virus. Ohio researchers conducted an evaluation last year that showed that masking helped control the spread of the virus in Ohio schools. ODH strongly recommends that those who are unvaccinated wear masks while in school," end quote. As far as the Ottawa County Board of Health, I spoke with Ottawa County Health Commissioner, Mr. Jerry Bingham, and attended and spoke at the Board of Health meeting last week to encourage them to issue an order mandating masks in our county schools this year. Mr. Bingham and the rest of the board assured me that they have been meeting with the county superintendents, and specifically mentioned Mr. Ferguson, that he, as the health commissioner, is recommending that all schools in the county follow CDC guidelines. The CDC guidelines strongly recommend, and I quote, "Universal indoor masking for all teachers, staff, students, and visitors to K-12 schools, regardless of vaccination status, and children should return to full-time in-person learning in the fall with layered prevention strategies in place," end quote. This is especially true as our county now falls in the red high transmission category on the CDC website, where everyone over the age of 2 in all indoor settings should be wearing a mask. It certainly would have been simpler for everyone if the state or county health departments would have issued a mask mandate rather than leave it in your hands and have to face the heat from the community, especially when you will soon be asking the community to support a levy, and 2 of you will be campaigning to support this coming November. Unfortunately, however, a mandate by either of them this year will not and cannot happen due to the recent passage of the Dangerous States Act Bill 22, which states that our science-illiterate legislatures can rescind any health orders issued by the governor or state, or, as I discovered at the county health department meeting last week, county health departments as well. Therefore, while it may be politically unrewarding for you, it is unfortunately in your hands tonight, in your hands only, to do the difficult but right thing and require masking this year. Furthermore, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends, and I quote, "Universal masking because a significant portion of the student population is not yet eligible for vaccines, and masking is proven to reduce transmission of the virus and to protect those who are not vaccinated," end quote. I would like to emphasize that this organization consists of thousands of pediatricians and pediatric health specialists, including child adolescent psychiatrists, whom are the experts on pediatric mental health, pediatric infectious disease physicians, whom are the experts on viral infections in children, and pediatric pulmonologists, whom are the experts on analyzing and interpreting blood gas levels, i.e. carbon dioxide levels, in children. These are also the people the school district already relies on to clear our student athletes to play sports or diagnose and treat medical conditions that may affect our students' abilities in the classroom. If you can trust them to do all of that, why don't we trust them to do what's best in this case? I want to stress that I'm here today to advocate not just for my children, but for all of our district children, our families, and our community as a whole, just as you represent all of our children and community as a whole. You represent the student with a mom at home battling breast cancer, the student on extensive immunosuppressive medications for juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, whose parents are working 2 jobs in order to pay those monthly medical bills, and the child who is being abused or neglected at home and whose only reprieve is escaping into the safety of school each day. Without the proven benefits of masking, all of these students are at risk from not having the benefit of being in school this year and would have difficulty or really an impossibility of being effectively homeschooled. Surely, asking all students to continue wearing a mask in the classroom until all students are vaccinated and case rates come down is not too big of a sacrifice in order to keep our most vulnerable students safe and in school. This is a great lesson in citizenship and teamwork and coming together as a community. From working in an ER, I've come to learn that all of us here will experience tragedy in our lives, oftentimes when we least expect it. Do we want to teach our children that in their times of tragedy, they shouldn't expect a helping hand because it might be too big of an inconvenience or too uncomfortable for everyone else? Or rather, that when tragedy strikes, we come together as a community to help our most vulnerable members. If you make the decision to keep masks optional, I am concerned it will not be long before large amounts of students are forced out of school due to illness or quarantine, as is happening in schools all across the South. Many are now reversing their once mask optional policies to masking requirements after they saw how badly their original policy failed. We need to keep our children in school, as evidence-based research shows that the mental health of our children decreases when they are not in school. Also, with students out of school with illness or quarantine, it will force parents to call off of work, straining our already understaffed workforce and thereby injuring our community's businesses and economy. But please, do not listen to my opinion or anyone else's opinion in this room, unless someone here has the combined knowledge and education of the thousands of physicians and scientists that make up the CDC, the Ohio Department of Health, the Ottawa County Health Commissioner, and the American Academy of Pediatrics. If you are truly waiting on clarification from the state and county departments of health and intend to make your decision based foremost on keeping our district students and staff safe in school this year, the clarification is now crystal clear and indisputable. You must make masking required this year, at least until all students can protect themselves with the vaccination and our community's COVID rates come down to a more acceptable level. Thank you for your time, and please stay safe.
God gave it to us.
Hi, my name is Cheryl Robson. I'm here today as a parent and a business owner and a worker and community volunteer. I appreciate everybody's passion. You guys are really passionate about this, which is awesome. I appreciate the information that was given on both sides because I do think that it's important. I will say that I will use the term experts loosely in a lot of the information that was given because some of the information that Julie was able to give was contradicted to the same information that was gotten off of the same websites by the same people, by the same, like the CDC and that. So, I mean, there's a little bit of diving that needs to be done, those kind of things. What I want to say is, I have a son my youngest son, who suffers from chronic migraine issue. And he has never been out of school more than last year, immediately after gym class for wearing a mask during gym class, or immediately after recess for wearing a mask during recess, because that was a policy, because they thought that was a good policy. And if I say anything new, I mean, because we didn't know what was going on. He got a truancy letter, which, I mean, it's fine because I had it blown out. My concern is that, I don't know how I want to say this. My biggest concern is that we're really not looking at, I mean, let's just say we all lived our summer the way we wanted to live our summer. I mean, everybody in this room, everybody on this panel, everybody did what we wanted to do. We went to baseball tournaments, we went to basketball tournaments, we went to volleyball tournaments, we did all these things this summer, we had parties, we had a whole post gala at this school, and it was a good time, and it was great. And the information that you're given tonight and the information that everybody has in front of them, the same information anybody can look up. It's important that we understand that, like, there are other things with our children that we need to take into consideration. And I'm here to say that my children will not be wearing masks if that is something that, I'm not willing to put that on them for another year. There are risks every day that we take. I'm not going to give you statistics like everybody else did. One of my sons ended up with a hole in his cheek playing baseball this summer, and he ended up with stitches. Do you think that has slowed him down one bit? No. Do you know why? Because he's going to get back out there and he's going to do the same thing. I've had my kids sit through classes in elementary school where a third to half of their classes out with strep throat, and at no time were any of the healthy kids ever asked to stay home. The sick kids stayed home. The kids that were sick stayed home. They quarantined. Everybody else went to school. At no time did anybody, was there talk of masks? Was there talk of we need to shut the school down, we need to this, at no time, because this is the general order of things, this is how things work. I don't have to be an expert, have a little bit of common sense in any of this. You don't have to be experts. You can be an expert. You don't have to be experts to understand that there is a way that these things work. It's been this way for hundreds of thousands of years. We're aware of it. I would like to see a school board. I would like to see a community. Let's be trailblazers in this kind of thing. Maybe there's other school districts who aren't willing to take these steps because they're afraid of what the repercussions are in the public or what that one person's going to say that's not happy. Let's be the standard by which people are like, well, Genoa did it, and they're doing great. They're doing this. They have their people stand up, and their kids are going to school, and things are great. Let's set standards for that. We can go back if we need to, but let's not start backwards. Let's start forward. Let's get this thing moving.
But I just wanted to start off by saying, I don't know the author's name, sorry, I read the name. I appreciate everything you do. My kids, my two youngest children, they spent probably the first 3.5 years of their life in and out of the ICU, so I appreciate everything that you do. No disrespect. My two youngest children, they have moderate to severe asthma. They were diagnosed at the age of 7 months. They first started showing symptoms when they contracted RSV. As you probably know, it's a terrible virus. So when all this COVID stuff first started coming out, I really did not fear COVID anymore than I did RSV, rhinovirus, any of those other viruses. I mean, the virus, I don't know the technical term, but literally pink eye, put my son in ICU. Viruses are scary. But what I do know is they are now completely off all of their medication. And I'm so thankful for that. But the reason why is because they have an immune system. I mean, I didn't shield them from the world. I didn't shield them from people. I didn't shield them from daycare, from school. I made sure, yes, they washed their hands, they didn't pick their noses, they didn't bite their nails, but they have an immune system. They have been doing better than ever. And I just feel like that we need to let our kids' immune system do the work because they're stronger than we think they are.
Hello, my name is Sarah Young. I am a parent of 3 Genoa students, high school, middle school, and elementary, so I have all schools covered. I'm also a staff member here, so I speak in both areas. My children definitely don't want to be wearing masks, so that you guys know how my children feel about it. But I also have a couple of questions for everyone here. As you guys are supposed to represent us, how many people here are for not wearing masks? Can you please I feel like this is who you represent here. This is our kids. Everyone has the option to stay home if they fear coming to school and mingling with the other kids. We are trusting in our immune systems, giving our kids vitamin C. You know, when did we stop teaching our kids to cough into an arm? Because when you're completely blocking your mouth and your sputum, it ain't going anywhere. When did we stop that? Does nobody teach their kids that? Because I know I do. And the other thing I was going to say, what Cheryl said, is our kids have been in sports all summer, band. My kids marching with all of these other kids, and my kids are fine. And I'm thankful for that. I think that we have a right to say how our kids should be here with the majority rule here. Another thing is for staff members. You know, I'm a staff member in the kitchen as well as the bus garage. I'm sorry, but when it's 90 degrees out and the buses are over 100 degrees, wearing a mask in there, not just staff members, but our kids, that is cruel. It's horrible if you can't breathe. It's terrible. As well as the kitchen, it's always hot. We've got ovens going constantly in the dishwashing room. Our poor dishwasher has steam like crazy back there. It's super hot. You're sweating, moving around like crazy. It's not okay. And then I do have a couple other things that do not pertain to masks. our school at all considering critical race theory?
Yeah. Gotta talk about that.
That's all right.
No, and I'll just answer that for you, no, that's not a consideration.
I know that there are some schools, like, is it Maumee school system, is also dictating that their teachers call the students they, they're not allowed to use she or he as genders anymore. Is that anything that Joe will be doing? Okay. Thank you.
Not anytime soon.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Valerie Whitmer. I have two students that attend Genoa Schools. One about to be a freshman, which makes me want to throw up to think about. I know she's going to have a great school year, and I have an 8th grade son. I am a teacher in a different district. I teach middle school, and speaking as a teacher who had to deal with students wearing masks all last year, I just want to say on behalf of the students that aren't here, it was not great. Like, it was very difficult for them. It was very hard for them. You're obviously not going to get a bunch of kids here that are going to advocate for themselves, and somebody has to advocate for the kids who has seen it and dealt with it.
Yes.
The other thing that I want to point out is I know that quarantining and things like that are probably still going to happen, right? Like, that's like a Ohio thing. It's going to happen. But the teachers and the staff at Genoa are phenomenal. Like, you guys are, I won't say what district I work at, some of you might know, and I feel bad throwing them under the bus, but my staff is nothing compared to Genoa staff, okay? Like, I know that if my kid has to quarantine, you better believe that she's still gonna get what she needs because your staff is phenomenal. And I need you to keep that in mind to make are not good for the kids. And yeah, it sucks if your kid has to quarantine, but because of what your staff has done, you have made it work. And you've made it work a heck of a lot better than a lot of other school districts. So when you make this decision, and in your mind, you're trying to do what's best for the kids, to keep them in school, just remember that what you guys have built because of last year, you're gonna keep them in school, even when they're stuck at home. That's all I have to say.
My name is Ron King. I live at 617 East Grove Street, Toledo, Ohio. My two kids that go here, they're the special reason why I keep going. You guys have a better school than Toledo. Let's keep it that way. Okay, for us to have masks for them makes no sense. I work at UPS. I'm a youth sports coach. I am a den leader and scout, day in, day out. I am dealing with many, many different types of families, different types of people, and not once have I ever gotten it during this whole entire time. But when the big scare came of COVID, and I use parentheses of COVID, so I still think it's garbage.
That's right.
Okay, I got sick just before it came. I got sick in November of 19. Okay, COVID came December, January. They said it was upper respiratory. But yeah, when they sat there and told all the different symptoms, I had it. If they can't determine what COVID is versus upper respiratory, they can't tell you what the sports are going to be able to get through. They told us that at first it was airborne. Then they told us that it was on everything. It be passed in 3 hours. I work for UPS. I deal with billions of packages, day in, day out. I didn't work those. So we moved the body. I could have gotten it at any time. I'm still healthy. I'm still here. I don't use a mask. My kids won't use a mask. And that's because they have that. We need to look at all the kids in medical before we sit there and make a decision of, oh, let's put a mask on, or let's not put a mask on. Okay? If they are safe, they stay home. We all have common sense. We all grew up around the 80s, 90s, and even 2000s for some of these parents. Okay? But we need to take care of these kids. And matching them up, I feel, isn't going to help them. They're going to be worried about this or that, being covered instead of focusing in the classroom. They're going to be having a hard time breathing. They're going to have many different distractions. We need people focused so the teachers can teach them. Okay? Yeah. I want to say thank you to all the doctors, nurses, and first responders. I even want to say thank you to the people that are behind them, getting the medical supplies out to the pharmacies with the vaccine. I won't take the vaccine. I don't believe in it. Okay? However, all those people that do believe in it and do take it, you have your right. My right, I'm not taking it, my kids are. Thank you.
Hi, I'm sure you all know me, but I'm a sign-over. I'm part of the graduating class of 21, so I just graduated. And I know that we, students, we have really big opinions about stuff, but I know a lot of the students are afraid to voice their opinion. And I know that we took a vote back, it was like February, about the desk shields. And 80% of the students said that they would take them down, and 20% said that they were okay with it. Yet nothing changed. And I just feel like the students just kind of felt like they were shut down. And I know myself, I even started a petition for musical students to be able to be within 6 feet of each other with masks, because I did some research and it was okay as long as you were wearing a mask. And I got a bunch of signatures and took it to the principal's office and nothing changed. And so I think that the students, I know there's a couple of you here that are here to support, and I think that the students have opinions and would like to be heard. And I just feel like that hasn't happened recently. So I just hope that the students will also get their voices out there and let everyone know what they think. So hopefully there will be change. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Chastity Fuggy. I live here in Genoa. I have a soon-to-be fourth grader. He started fourth grade this year. Last year I homeschooled him. I did use the PLP through Genoa schools. My son has ADHD, so he's hard to teach at times. I do not medicate my son. I just choose not to. We have other methods. Basically, I just want to know, I want to ask a question. If my son was to attend school this school year and he had to wear the mask for school, which I strongly disagree with, so I highly recommend him not wearing it, so I'll probably homeschool him again. I guess after I figure out what you guys are going to do tonight or tomorrow. But would he be reprimanded because he didn't want to keep his mask on? I've seen him when he would wear the mask, put it over his eyes, put it on top of his head, here, have my mask, friend. I just feel like if he were to even come into school and have to wear the mask, and he was to do those things, would he be punished because he didn't want to keep that on his face? We don't wear masks. If we go into a space where they're saying, hey, masks are required here, we leave. We don't. We go to the grocery store and say, you gotta put it on. We leave the grocery store. They don't receive our money because we are dead against them. We just don't want to. We don't want to social distance and keep our child in a mask so we can see their expression on their face. How do I know if they're not I don't know that you're not smiling at me or you're frowning at me behind that mask. It has damaged our children so far, I feel, because my son was was very bubbly and vibrant, and now he's like nervous and he doesn't know what to do. My daughter, she is the image of him, so she's only 4. She wants to start Head Start, but I'm afraid to send her if they're going to make my 4-year-old wear a mask. You know, she's a little girl. I just ask that you guys vote and vote with your heart and think about your kids and what it's going to do to them. You know, their self-esteem, their insides. What are they going to feel when they have to cover up all the time and be nervous and be afraid to even breathe? But basically, what do you guys think will happen if my child would come into the classroom and be fiddling with his mask and not keeping it on? He gets at home or a phone call would be made. What would happen with that? Like,
Well, that would just depend on the, obviously there's a vote coming, right? That's gonna guide whatever rules we have in place. So, you know, if it comes about that mask required, you know, mask required, barring, there are exemptions for medical and there are exemptions for religious exemptions. So those are exceptions. But let's see what, you know, I don't want to get into a hypothetical if we don't know what the answer will be.
so basically, I would get a phone call, right? And they would say, hey, your kid won't keep his mask on his face. So I'm supposed to punish him for that? You know?
I got it.
Okay. Well, like I said, I don't agree with masks, so I guess if the vote was for masks, he won't be attending this year. And that's another thing that's damaging to him, because he wants to come and be with his friends.
My name is Amanda. I'm in 3rd grade, and I think it's not good to wear masks because it's like helping other kids not be able to breathe and not be able to focus in school because you can't breathe.
Hello, my name is Genoa. I live at 418 Castle Cove, 3 kids going to Genoa. There was a board member that mentioned they weren't reached out to. Can all 5 of you raise your hand if you did receive my email? I only got 1 respondent. If you did not, I went on the Genoa website and went to the Genoa email and sent it. So if there's a better way I can contact you, that should be on the website or just make sure emails are good. So I just want to say that.
I want to say that I did get reached out to by email. I did respond to many, didn't respond to all of them. There were a lot.
Yeah, no, you definitely want to send it.
My specific comment was to friends and family that that was my specific comment. I want to be very clear about that. I have friends and family that were on that was my specific comment.
Okay.
I responded to you.
Yes, you did. I wasn't necessarily expecting a response. I just want to make sure that if I need to get hold of you, I can. And if the email that's on the website is not the best way, then just put up a better way for me to get hold of you.
We did get some that went to our spam, like Dr. Personal.
Okay.
And so.
That's fair.
Just for reasons.
So because of that, I guess I just want to make a couple statements from my email. I did suggest that there were several schools already last year, including in the Toledo area, and I gave some of the schools specifically that require mask mandates during the 2020-2021 school year, and that's when it was mandated. The UK just recently released a study a couple weeks ago supporting kids should not be wearing masks in school. Shemez Latanya, epidemiologist who led the study, found that children, quote, aren't taking the virus home and then transferring to the community. These kids have very little capacity to infect household members. Dr. Susan Hopkins from Public Health of England's medical advisor says it's important that primary school children don't wear face coverings. We have plenty of studies and examples from the last school year of schools who made masks optional or required, none of which prove that those who require masks have statistically significantly less cases than those who made it optional, end quote. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, 0.1% to 1.9% of all COVID-19 cases of children result in hospitalization. And with that same study from the AAP, 0% to 0.03% of all children who had COVID-19 resulted in death. That's with 7 states who had 0 children deaths. So as it's been discussed, it is basically 0. A COVID-19 school response dashboard, which was created by Brown University professor Emily Oyster, which is something that our school can join and tend to provide data that actually makes sense. They try to track COVID data with context, like how many people were in the in-person school and what mitigation factors that school took place. And within their data throughout last year, it shows schools that experience a high community transmission, the mass school students saw a case rate 37% higher than schools that had non-mass requirements. Those who required mass had 26 per 100,000 versus 19 per 100,000 who had no mass requirements. That is statistically insignificant, but students or schools that had mask mandates didn't receive less transmission than schools who had optional mask mandates. Guidelines from the CDC, if you don't read the first paragraph, you should read the rest of it. Right? Those who come in close contact with someone with the coronavirus for more than 15 minutes could spread the virus regardless of whether either party wears a mask, end quote, and includes people in this gym. This is a school setting. 15 minutes of contact is obviously expected. The CDC states in the public health guidelines for community-related exposure. By the way, there's 10 links to all these sources, so I'm not making it up. That you should read that. That those who come in close contact with people showing COVID-19 symptoms or someone who has tested positive for the virus can spread the infection whether or not they were wearing a mask. This is irrespective of whether the person with COVID-19 or the contact was wearing a mask or whether the contact was wearing a PPE. The guidance does say that it may help, which is always the word that's used, it may help people who are infected with the virus from spreading it. We just do not have the serious data to support that, end quote. That's from the CDC. I thank you for your time, and I do not envy your decision. Thank you.
Just discuss a few of those stats that he was talking about. Most of those were pre-Delta. It's changed. I'll be honest, 2 months ago, I was very confident that we were going to be able to go back to school this year without wearing masks. I've like 100%, I was, yep, we're going to be good, the case rates are going to be down. I felt very good about it. In the last like 3 weeks, everything has changed. And everything has changed on the CDC, the Ohio Department of Health, and the county health department of things. You have to, that's what science is. Science changes, you have to be adaptable to the science, and the science doesn't lie. If you are looking at the data that is in front of you at that moment, it does not change. That's what you have to go on, is what's in front of you now. If a month from now, our case rates are back down to 17 for 100,000 like it was back in June, take off the mask. Nobody wants that. I don't want to wear a mask. I'm tired of it. But things change.
We're not going to have.
So,
it's a back and forth. We're not over the deck.
okay, well, and I will just say, I think it's a travesty, to be honest, that you guys are putting in the position, not being scientists, to make this decision. It should not have been up to you. This is what the departments of health, that's what they're created for, is to take care of the pandemic. And which we have had since 1919, and I don't think anybody here is over 100, so we've never lived through this before. So anybody saying you learned how to cough, we have not been through this in 100 years, since my 101-year-old grandma.
And more people died from that flu. People were getting that flu.
Yes, and we did not.
6 hours of kids.
We did not have those, I say medical treatment.
Right.
So that's all I have to say.
People got that flu and died 6 hours later.
Anybody who's spoken, we would like, unless you have something new to add, we're not going to go back and forth. You'll hear from the 2 young ladies and any other new people.
I'm Madison, and I'm in 4th grade, and it's hard to breathe because I have severe asthma, which is not sure. Thank you.
How are they communicating? They have to communicate with their mask.
I communicate with my mask on to my patients at work all the time. in a large setting like this, it's very difficult to understand. So yes, at meetings for the few minutes that it's off, it is.
Okay, how many people have touched that microphone?
It has been shown to not
But
be
you are still touching your face, you're still touching your mask. But you're back to the right.
My 2-year-old.
Where's that?
My 2-year-old. All the time.
All right, we're not engage with the board, make your commentary, and now the teacher.
First of all, I do just want to say that I agree with the statement of you must follow science. Okay? The science is that there's risk is almost nothing to get. So it is ridiculous. Have you ever entertained the thought of putting a mask on a kid when the risk is almost nothing? That's a ridiculous idea. It is. I don't understand how
We've heard that.
one other thing else to bring up. So the idea to put the mask on so they learn blood and fear, that's not the American dream. In 1776, American patriots did not fear putting their life on the line for their freedoms, and neither should we.
My name is Diana Robinson. I have 3 kids in Genoa Elementary. I had sent you all an email earlier this week. I hope that you saw it. I just, took me a while to decide if I wanted to come in front of the firing squad, not all of you, but I decided, and I sent you an email, and I might as well get out and kind of say my piece as well. Everyone keeps talking about there being very little risk of our children dying from COVID or being hospitalized from COVID. And I know that we can't even really compare what it would look like with the Delta variant and with our kids not being masked in school. So those numbers the risk might actually be higher than what these individuals are citing. Additionally, there's a 0% risk of our children dying from wearing masks. 0%. So I think these arguments about what the risks are is a false equivalency. It's the risk of our children dying from wearing masks and protecting the students next to them is 0. And so I just wanted to point that out, although I'm sure that you guys recognize that. Also, as I know, you all know, the daily case rates have been climbing. That's an indisputable fact. Last year, you guys made responsible, reasoned decisions. Many of them. We started off the year hybrid. We had plexiglass in between the desks. We tried to do social distancing as much as possible. And our children wore masks. And that's how we had a safe school year last year. The numbers are worse now, and there are no changes, at least in risk, to our elementary school students as there were last year. Our older students, some of them have had the opportunity to get vaccinated, but our elementary students have not been afforded that opportunity. And once my kids are vaccinated and everyone else's kids have the opportunity to be vaccinated, I think that's the time to revisit the question about whether or not masks are necessary. But our little kids cannot protect themselves from the virus with a vaccine at this point. And so I just think it's, again, the responsible, reasonable thing to do is to put a temporary mask mandate in place. And if that is not going to happen because of this loud local, who I think is a minority, although a majority in this room, if that's the decision that you make, I understand that, but please at least consider allowing the ability to keep the masked students together and the unmasked students together. Yes, segregation that's not based on any kind of
keep your kids home.
protected character.
If you're that scared, keep them home.
14 days to stop the spread.
I think that's probably enough.
Hi, my name is Dorothy Cromer. I have a child going into kindergarten, and I actually came tonight just to start coming to the meetings. I didn't realize this about, so just sitting here listening to everything, some things that I feel like have not been addressed. There is no evidence so far that masks actually work. There's not a study that can confirm that they are working. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation and a lot of things that they believe are true. They recommend things and such, but they don't actually have any evidence yet so far, because if there was, I wouldn't have any qualms at all about putting them on. I know of a few, and I've heard of many private schools that stayed in school all 5 days, the entire year, with no masks. And I know one in particular, for sure, that never had an issue at all. Am I correct? And so, not that that's scientific, but there's too many private schools that acted this way last year to say that, this is beautiful. One thing that I feel needs to be considered as well is we do know that there has been great increases in children's suicide rates. I think that to consider all the anxiety and leading to my next point, that kids are being taught fear. I think that it is completely heartbreaking. I was at the park in Genoa with my little ones, and there was a little girl there who was maybe 8 or 9 visiting Genoa with, I don't know if he was her father or her grandfather, and they were visiting a relative, and instead of meeting at the home, they met at the park and sat at complete opposite ends on complete opposite sides of an area. There were no tables out then. And she desperately wanted to play. It was 90 degrees out, and she had one of those gaiter things that I don't know how on what she was wearing. And as soon as we came walking up, she had put it on completely, and she so wanted to play with them that every time they went running, she was following them. But as soon as they came running back, she was like freaking out. And my heart just broke. Children should not fear playing with other children. We are instilling a fear that is beyond, I think, anything that we all know how it's going to affect them, but I think that it's horrible. What about the hearing impaired? Whether they're completely deaf or not, they rely on facial expressions and being able to read lips. That is completely discriminatory to them. And did I hear you say that there is a religious exemption?
We had somebody request that last year.
I wish I had known. Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is April, and I was just going to say that I really don't believe in mask mandate because I used to go to school, and from research my mom has done, apparently, I didn't know this. The virus, it can go through masks, and they don't do anything really, and when I was in gym class, I had to put my mask right back on, and the next class I had, it was super hard to breathe, and every time I put the mask at least on my nose just to breathe a little bit, I got in trouble, and I was having a really hard time breathing. And then I had a mask for like couple weeks, and I was washing it often, and most were
reporters showed up and it wasn't really that healthy. So I really don't believe in that stuff. It's making people sick, and throughout the whole school year I had 2 sore throats because masks, they're making people more sick than helping them. It's not doing us any good. Thank you.
I wasn't even gonna talk. I don't even know this little girl. She sat behind me as I walk up the way. But do you know what I noticed? Only 2 of you had the nerve to look her in the eye. 2 of you. And that's sad, and that's when you know that we're wrong by these kids.
Hi, my name is Emma Johnson. I have 2 kids who attend. My son will be in kindergarten, and this is my daughter, Lucy. She'll be in 4th grade, and I'm a English teacher. I'm shocked them up here. But I didn't want to talk numbers as much as the mental health of these kids. Multiple occasions, my daughter came home from school crying because the bus was so hot from wearing the mask and running in gym class. These kids were required to run in gym class with a mask on for over 8 minutes at a time. And they were not offered water because the drinking fountains were turned off. So it was my mistake as a mom that I forgot to pack a water bottle. My daughter went the whole gym class without water offered to her. And I personally made the phone calls necessary to change that. And thankfully, it changed for the rest of the elementary students that they were no longer required to wear them during gym class. And my son, who was in preschool at the time, he would come home almost daily with a soaking wet mask because he's 4. And what did he do with something pushed against his mouth? All day he chewed on it, just like most other students probably did. And I don't think that that's healthy as well for breathing in wet cloth for multiple hours of the day. And my daughter missed her friends. They were separated at recess. They were split into sections, and her best friend, if she wasn't in her actual homeroom class, she didn't get to play with her. She didn't get to sit next to her at lunch. She didn't get to communicate with her friends. And my daughter is a social girl. She needs that social interaction. And I felt as a parent I was pushed into a corner to make a decision for my mental health and my daughter's mental health, because my mental health did not want me to homeschool. I am not a teacher for a reason. I am not equipped for that. Yes, the school made it easy for communicating, but that was not what was best for me and my children. So unfortunately, I did give in. I had my kids wear masks, but I regret it. And I'm here to say that my kids will not wear masks this school year. And if that is meaning that I pull them again, I already spoke to her about that we have to stand up for her right to public school. She has a right as a 9-year-old to come to school. And I do not believe that masks should be mandated or required. I think it should be up to the parents to make a decision for their children. Just like any other parent in here who makes a decision on what they feed their children every day for lunch. You can go through McDonald's, you can make an organic meal. You can do what's best for your child. And I think as a public school system, we should have that decision and we should have that right. That I choose what's best for her and you can choose what's best for her.
Mark, you got something real quick, all right? I hope I see as much passion when another levy goes up. I'm seeing my own kids that went through the school system, engineers, radiologists. The last time I was here, 20 years ago, when we moved the stadium. And, you know, I hear these numbers. We all have a choice. I don't hear anything talk about national immunities. You know, they went in 2005, they went back to descendants of Spanish flu. 9 decades later, there was antibodies. You know, we want to talk about science. I was fortunate to go to football games. Officials don't touch the football. We change during possessions. At the end of the game, we meet at the 50-yard line. We raise our helmets. But I played football, even a little above. And there's a lot lot of other things going on in the pile. You know, basketball, we didn't change possession. You know, it's the illogical things that I think frustrate people. You know, I just hope whatever direction the board, I'm curious as what drives your position as far as legal. You know, they say numbers don't lie, but liars use numbers.
Yep.
I appreciate what every volunteer does here. And the one thing we agreed on a couple times is it's a damn shame that we don't have government officials that are doing their job versus putting our board members. And there's some positions open here this November. You know, jump on in, the water's fine. Get engaged. Let's stay away from the mess. God bless. Faithful.
All right, that will conclude our public comments section, and at the conclusion of this time, I wanted to certainly give our board members a chance to make any commentary they would like to do before we move on toward the business of that we have at hand tonight. So I will start with Mr. Cashindown. Do you have any commentary you'd like to add to the discussion before we move on?
Sure. This thing scares the heck out of me. It does. And, you know, every variant you hear, the Delta now, we don't have the data that supports how contagious it is. It's, you know, you can
live in fear, man.
Pardon?
Can't live in fear.
A little louder.
You can't live in fear.
Let me speak.
Can we let him talk? We listen to you.
We have to be responsible. And everybody wants to judge what's right for their kid. But you also got to worry about the kids next to your kids. It's not just your decision that affects your child. It's your neighbor's decision that affects your child too. It's very difficult for us to sit up here and weigh what's right and what's wrong. What my kids want, what I want for them. My kids have had the variant, or have had both have had the virus, and they both had the vaccine. And I don't know what's going to happen in the next variant that comes out. Because you know that this thing is not going away. There is no herd immunity. It's transmissible for people who've already had the disease. It's transmissible for people who have the vaccine. But we do know that the people who have the vaccine, they're not the ones in the hospital right now. Last week,
they are too.
Last week, the Vine's numbers, 98% of the people that were in the hospital were not vaccinated. Okay? Vaccination, you're still going to get the disease, but it's not, hopefully the symptoms are not as severe. This thing scares the heck out of me. And do I want to make sure that every kid is wearing a mask? We can't do that. I don't know if we can do that. You can't keep the mask on the kids. I don't know. And right now, for me, I have a serious coin flip going on in my head. It's not a coin flip, it's a balance. I'm weighing what's best for the kids mentally and what I think is best for the kids physically. And I don't know if we can, if a mask is going to stop things, and I do know that not wearing a mask isn't going to stop things. It's a very difficult situation up here, and I know that everybody is very passionate about their decisions, and you guys need to understand that we are doing the best that we can do with the information that we have to make the decisions that are best for our kids. And we had somebody say that our job isn't to take care of the health of our children, is to educate them. That's not entirely true. The number one priority, I think, is to protect our kids. The first thing you can do before you can learn is you got to be safe. So I don't think that it's fair to separate the two. And right now, I've got a very difficult decision making, and at this moment, I'm not exactly sure which way I'm going. I just want to listen to what my companions say, and we'll go from there. But this is a very difficult decision. I hope everybody out there understands that this isn't something that's done off the cuff or without a lot of thought and feeling. So, thank you for listening to me.
Tom, are there any public comments that have come in?
Not online right now.
No. Okay. Chrissy, you got anything?
I agree with you. Okay, I guess I'm the veteran on the board. I've been on the board 7 years. So one that graduated in 2019 and one that's a sophomore this year. This job isn't easy. Look, I didn't sign up for this for the pay because it sucks. So listening to everybody's comment, I am so thrilled to see everybody here. And like Mark said, I would love to see you guys all at a levy meeting because we all have one thing in common. We love Genoa. We're all Genoa comics. And it hurts me to listen to everybody badger each other, whether it's your opinion or it's not. And tonight, I came into this with my own decision. And being a recent breast cancer survivor, it's tough. It's tough because I see the things that go on, but I also have a daughter that's like, Mom, we can't wear masks. Like, let's not do this. And we made the choice to get vaccinated. And it just hurts me to listen to everybody just be so cruel to each other. And it hurts because of the fact that we all love this school system. Nobody can deny that. But I think whatever decision this board makes, I think at the end of the day, we need to be kind to each other. We can't be going home and having our children badger each other for those that want to wear masks and ones that don't want to wear masks. So whatever this decision is made, I know how I feel personally. We cannot be cruel to each other because we all have a common goal to educate world-class children in the school system. That's all I can say.
I'm just going to echo a little bit of what Krista said. Obviously, every month we meet on a Tuesday night. It would be great to have all you folks come to a meeting monthly. Obviously, this is a hot topic. And, before I got here tonight, my decision was made. It's great to hear everybody's commentary and what you are all thinking. But, it affects every one of us personally. So, obviously, you're going to have your personal choices and what's best for your children. So, as a board and a board member, I take all that into consideration. I look at that, but at the end of the day, we try to do what's best for the system. So,
I'm sorry, what is your name?
Keith Trevor.
Okay, thanks.
Come to a game on Friday night, you'll hear me announcing that too. It's another free job.
Jeff.
Jeff Trainer, Vice President of the Genoa School Board. Last year I was president. It was the most difficult year of my life. And dealing with this was the second most difficult thing. COVID has been extremely hard on my only son. I've got 5 children, 3 in the district now. Gus will be a senior. Extremely difficult for him. He had to be isolated from us much of the year due to health concerns of my wife. And it took a mental toll. We talked to him often about that and the sacrifice that he made for his family and the community. And no matter where you sit, I'll just ask that as you look back at last year, if you tell your kids, you were robbed, you were cheated, this is terrible, and what they did to you isn't fair and it's un-American, I think we may miss the point of the lesson we can teach them. And that's that they made a sacrifice for someone other than themselves. And I think this generation needs to learn that more than any generation before it. The generations before before us fought in World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. They sent their sons and brothers off in drafts and didn't volunteer. So when I talk to my son, I talk often about that sacrifice, what he did for our family, and there is a cost, and he's going to live with that cost. He had depression. He had to deal with that. We had to deal with that as a family. I also have two fourth graders that really don't want to wear masks, and they tell their dad that every single day. And I'll just say, I think a lot of people in this room will probably be happy with my decision tonight. But I don't think I will. And I will tell you, my number one priority, if you're going to ask me what my priority is to keep children in school. And if our quarantine rates go through the roof, I will move to put the mask back on if that brings it back down and keeps my child in school. My twins will be in school. They're going to wear masks too, and they're going to hate me for it. They are not going to like it. But they're going to have it. And I'm going to order N95s, because guess what? The masks don't do anything to protect them. It protects you from them. That's why a surgeon puts on a mask when they do surgery. It isn't about the doctor, it's about the patient. And that's what that collective group did last year, was protect each other from themselves. You might not agree with it, and that's okay. We're not going to agree. I'm not going to change your mind, you're not going to change mine. But I'm looking at data. One of the things I'm looking at is the experiment that's happening in Indiana right now. They started school on August 4th, some started late July. You're seeing a lot of reversals, and it's not because of what they think, it's because they want to keep their kids in school. So that, you probably like my vote today, and if it goes well and you're right, you'll like my vote in November. You'll hopefully like it when you vote for the levy. But I'll tell you, if we get into 30, 60 days and we see kids that can't come to school, because one thing that why did we do 4 days a week last year? It's kind of weird, right? We're all in together, we had that fifth day. And I can't remember, one of the moms spoke to it, how well when their student was out, they were taken care of. That's because we did that with intent. We're one of the lowest staffed schools in the district. We have less aides, we have less support. So we had to make a decision that we went 4 days because we knew on the fifth day, at times we had up to 80 kids out of school last year? I think that was 85, about the highest.
Worst,
Yeah, the worst we got. That's what they did on those days, and that's why it was such a good experience. But I want my kids in 5 days a week. I want them all here. Like I said, you'll probably like my vote today, but I don't know if you'll like me in 2 months if we have to change this, because I will make the decision to change it if it doesn't work. So.
All right. I'll conclude things with my own commentary. Jeff is my brother. I love him here. We disagree across the board, not just about. I respect him so much that we have regular dialogue about it. If you recall, some of you came in tonight with an agenda of your own. Sure, you want what you want, but you assumed a lot as well. That's what frustrates me. We had Mark talk about there's things posted on the website about what this board and what schools is considering doing. There's all kinds of information. I'm prepared to talk to anybody. If you recall last year before, my position was clear. I wanted to sit in 5 days, no masks. I too fear for the kids, but not from COVID, not from any virus. These kids are resilient. Their natural immunity is stronger than any of these vaccines. I watch their face and I see them terrified in the grocery store. I worry about their mental health, their physical health, their spiritual health, their social health. That's what terrifies me. I'm not terrified of this virus. The Lord above knows the days that are on my head.
Amen.
I too have a family member in the throes of the cancer battle with acute myeloid leukemia. He stands like a warrior, unafraid. Sure, taking precautions. Sure, being smart. But there's too many things in this life to live in fear, as I heard you say. We made a lot of assumptions tonight, didn't we, sir?
I did. I apologize for that, sir. I will promise that.
So, this is Genoa. Okay, we're Genoa. I don't care about any other district around here, we're Genoa. Okay? We're going to stand together. We're going to make a decision in the best interest of our kids. I did not want that. I do not want the masks at all. And I don't believe that they're having the effect that people want to claim. All due respect to our physician and president. One, I'm so thankful that you spoke. Okay? But I have a problem, not with you, but with what you said. My problem is with the experts, is with the expertise that I would love to give, that I would love to be able to give all of our CDC people and our physicians and people around. I would love to be able to do it, but they have lost a measure of credibility with me and with the public in general. That the people that we do trust, we're supposed to be able to trust, we cannot. Because they have given mixed messages. It's all too politicized. We know that. It's undeniable. I don't know who I believe, or who's being paid, or who's being corrupted, or who's legitimately giving me good information. I don't know. So I'm left to myself. I have to research. I've read everything I know to read on this. So when you ask for the information, you caught me off guard, like, what? I haven't stopped reading stuff about it. Every study that's come out, I try to read it the best I can understand it as a layman. And have people interpret it for me who are in the medical field around me. But guys, we can't just come in because we watch YouTube videos of all these school board meetings going on. We're going to whatever. We're going to give it to them. We're going to let those. You don't know where we're at. We're with you. We got a tough vote. I don't know what these people are going to vote. I did not ask them. That would have corrupted the process. This board is trying to do it right on every level, from staffing to funding to a pandemic response. We are trying to do it right. We're trying to listen to you. So you can't assume that we're not on the same team. I understand, I understand. I'd be with you. I have 5 sons. Youngest just graduated. Praise God. But if I had little ones, I could not see them with that mask on. That's my position. I'm not speaking for the board. I'm speaking for Ron right now. And I want to look out for them. I want to encourage them that there's a God in heaven that's looking after them. And that they can do this. I want to read a quote that I love from Thomas Paine from his pamphlet, Common Sense. Okay, one of our founders. And it reminds me of this whole talk of the mass. It says, the long habit of not thinking a thing wrong gives it a superficial appearance of being right, and raises at first a formidable outcry in defense of custom. But the tumult soon subsides. Time makes more converts than reason. Time, this will pass. We will get through this together. Some things that they can do what they need to do, but we want them back in school learning. Because that's what's right. There's no guarantees in this life. Not one of us is guaranteed of making it home tonight. Either by illness or by any other reason. It's not saying we take undue risk. We're not guaranteed of a thing. So we go on. And we go on together. And I would ask you to respect whatever decision is made tonight. Whatever the vote comes out, it comes out. We have to respond as a community, together. Make your feelings known. Personally, I would prefer that you did it. If you want to call me, I'll give you my cell phone. You can have an hour, 2-hour conversation if you want. I'll talk to you as long as you want to talk. So don't ever say this board isn't prepared to listen to you. Because that's just a lie. That you've been fed by people who don't have your best interest at heart. Okay. Report of the treasurer. Mr. Nye, take over, please.
All right. Statement of financial activity, last year to this year for the month of July. The statement I provided you in front of you looks pretty awkward, I should say, in comparison to others that I've provided you in the past. If you look at every line item, each and every line item has a fairly significant variance to it. And there's a reason for that. We actually had the benefit of the state passing what's called the Fair School Funding Plan. And that is a new state funding source that's going to go ahead. And with that, anytime there's something new put in place, there's always multiple changes. We have multiple line items from charter school expenditures to special ed scholarship expenditures, positive and open enrollment, negative open enrollment, that before last year went into a certain line item on this financial statement. The state changed a multitude of line items that are all going to go up into the foundation funding line item, all into one line item. So it's affecting the statements significantly line by line, but in conclusion or in total it's not. But so I just wanted to provide you, when you're looking at this, like, what did Bill do? Bill didn't do anything. The state, how they're looking at the Fair School Funding Plan, they are changing up how things are being looked at. If you look at the bottom line, the cash balance from last year's July to this year's July, not totally out of bounds. It's off a little bit in comparison, but nothing outstanding, nothing to write home about. Take away that middle ground. There's a middle line item, $423,570 that we had to advance to other funds at the end of last fiscal year that came back to the general fund. Take that line item away. The bottom line looks fairly regular, like nothing's really happened. And I guess my bottom line to you is in July, nothing of significance really did happen. It's kind of like business as usual. But going forward, you're going to see some changes. You're going to see the purchase services line, where many of the expenditures went last year, aren't going to be there this year. So it's going to look like, yeah, we spent $2.3 million last year. Why did we only spend $1.8 million this year? Well, it's a Fair School Funding Plan that they're putting together. Good news about the Fair School Funding Plan, we're not going backwards. The last annual budget that the state provided us, we lost about $350,000. This, not that it's much, you're not gonna applaud this or anything, but they're actually giving us about $75,000 to $80,000 more per year. It's a positive step. Small, yes, but a positive step. Unlike I've been here 16 years and having 8 biennial budgets. Out of those 8 biennial budgets, I bet 6 of them have been either stagnant or a negative to this district. The state has not helped us in the past. They're not necessarily giving us a banner budget this time, but at least it's going forward. I do not have the budget in detail for you tonight. However, it is basically a completed deal. We ended last year with about $223,000 in deficit spending. This year, the budget is going to be around $375,000 in deficit spending. That is helped out by federal funds that we received, the Easter funds that the federal government provided. Without those funds, we would probably be deficit spending by at least about $200,000 that I just told you about. So we'd be up in the $575,000, $600,000 range. And then counting. I mean, the next year, unless we are blessed to have a levy pass, we're going to probably be up in 6 figures the next year and so forth. So just to give you an idea of what's happening with our finances.
You mean 7 figures?
7 figures, I apologize. 7 figures. We are in 6 figures. So that's basically what's happening at this point. Any questions, comments, concerns starting out this fiscal year 22? Like I said, nothing of significance. A lot of shell games going on by the state at this time.
My only comment is, I think the fair school funding is a marketing ploy by the state government. Schools aren't funded fairly in the state of Ohio. You go to one public school and you'll have about 17,000, 15,000 per pupil spending. You go to our school, it is
Just over 9,000.
Just over 9,000. And of that, what percentage comes from the state bill?
Right now, we're getting about 52% of our money from the state.
Okay. So just to give you an example, so our total spending is 9,000. The state of Florida gives every pupil $9,000 per pupil in the state of Florida, no matter what school. So that just gives you the discrepancy. It's a massive discrepancy. What determines if your school is funded well or not well is, did a CEO make a decision that has nothing to do with your school to build a factory, to build a plant? Did they decide to build a pipeline through your school district? That's what determines how well your school is funded, how often you have to go to the taxpayer. It has nothing to do with what they're doing in Ohio. Politicians are not making decisions to fund our schools fairly, and I don't care what they call it. It's not fair school funding, and the reason I'm doing that is because we all came to talk about math, but you're in the room, so you're listening. It's never here to hear it. So we're understaffed, we're undersupported, and until the CEO decides to build a factory here, it's not changing. So.
Can you give actual information regarding situations where they actually have adjusted it for situations like that? If you're going to sit there and say, I'm wondering, that's all. I'm not trying to be aggressive with that, I'm just wondering about it all. So if they are adjusting it, how much they pay to the school for children, and you say that
I'll get numbers. So I'll get you numbers in comparison to other school districts. I'll get you, whatever you want.
and then can you also cite why, with specifics?
Schools are funded based on property values. Property values in Genoa are very low in comparison. So.
And like a place like Lake, who has, what are they getting?
First Solar is huge for Lake.
They get over $1 million.
Peloton's building in Eastwood. Eastwood built a school and didn't go to the community to pass a levy because they have Home Depot, Peloton's coming. They didn't need it. They didn't have to ask.
It's all factory money used.
So your school is our largest employer.
Correct.
Yeah, if your school is your largest employer, you're in trouble.
Well, not really. We got a good community.
No.
Do we want factories? Yeah. Don't we live out in this area for that reason, gang?
Yeah,
we got to help these school board members pass lobbies.
Yeah, and Mark, what I'm saying though is the state's got to help us out too. The state has to recognize that and fund us differently because we don't have factories. And I'm not saying we need a factory. What I'm saying is something needs to change. So the state needs to change its guidelines. Thank you. Yes. So sorry. No one, you're never here. So
yeah. Yeah.
No, why is that?
Yeah.
So that was the July report. I do have a couple of items for approval. First, are we've had these in the past. We use Wood County Educational Service Centers to help support some of the services we require for our special education services. In front of you, we do have paraprofessional services along with some tutor and teacher services. We've had these in the past. These are not anything new. They're basically for current students that we have that are in our special education program. I just ask that you review these, and I will answer any questions.
It's just a renewal.
Just renewal from basically the same exact kids, just for another year. And like I said, we used Wood County last year without issue. And these are just basically for the 21-22 school year instead of the 20-21 school year.
Hey, Bill, I have a question. So, we're gonna approve both of these, the summer and this one, both of them at the same time?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Motion?
Second.
Mr. Cash?
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Wright?
Yes.
All right, the next item I have for approval is the district has been working probably closing in on 8 or 9 months now on a potential on-site fuel depot for our bus drivers. Looking at all angles and so forth, we're looking at the ease and efficiency that our bus drivers can secure fuel, which is coming to issue locally, and also as a cost savings measure that we're always looking to save money for the district. We looked at 4 different vendors, from local to even out of the area vendors. I'm bringing to you an agreement proposal from Gary Shoemaker LLC. They're actually out of Martin, so very, very close. Like I said, we vetted their program, their lease agreements, their equipment, the tanks, fuel costs, and so forth.
How long is the term?
This is for 1 year. 1 year, making sure that we, even after we looked at everything, that we're doing everything even properly, so we're not going into a multi-year contract, should anything go a little haywire.
Is there a price cap?
For the first year, no, there's not. We did not go into any price cap. I did talk to Eastwood schools and also talked to Oregon schools. They both have used them for multiple years. With no issue of price going from, right here to right here for any time frame. I made sure that, so they have not seen any issues in that respect. So basically, I'm just requesting your review and potential approval of the equipment lease agreements with Gary Shoemaker LLC for 1 year. This would be for tanks, and this would be for service of fuel, both diesel and gas. One last thing, I looked at our current costs, and it is going to cost us, we're going to have some infrastructure to put the fuel depot in. The break-even point is a little over between 3 and 4 years, I estimate. After that, we would be at the benefit of putting this having savings of it. Anything that you do obviously has a cost structure at the beginning, but after that, like I said, I think that's a pretty good break-even point, less than 5 years.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Mr. Cash? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
page 9. I need the board to approve the resignations as listed. I do want to draw attention here, I'm not sure I saw him in, I'm not sure he's still here. Is Terry Cornelius still here? No. She left. Just want to thank her for all her years of service. She's going to be with us until October. She's done a great job for us. You know, up and down the highway.
Motion's approved.
Second.
Mr. Cashin? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Reagan? Yes.
Bill, why don't you keep those all together, and I separate that second one out, so I do that. Is it okay to put those all together?
For which page?
On page 10, it's not marked page
So which one do you want to hold on?
10. No, just not hold out, just, can I do them all together?
Oh, yeah, you can do them all together, yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, the board approved the appointment of the following supportive personnel.
Second.
Who's?
That was first.
Mr. Cashin? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Reagan? Yes.
Okay, on page 11. I need the board to approve the appointment of the following certificated personnel, including those on the handout.
Second.
Mr. Cashin? Very good. Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Ms. Reagan? Yes. Sorry.
Okay, on page 12, I need the board to approve the attendance at those professional meetings as listed there.
Second.
Mr. Cashin? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Ms. Reagan?
Yes.
Okay, on page 14, number 1 there. The board to approve the open enrollment for the 2022 school year as listed in the handout.
Keep going.
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Cashin? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Reagan? Yes, sir.
It's 211, does it say, that? Or does it say total?
I don't know what the net is. You know what the out, negative going
What's
out?
the net on open enrollment? You got 211 coming. How many?
211. We don't have all those. The other districts send us our list. We don't have all of them yet.
Historically, it's about between 40, 45, so you're talking.
So net 170, 165.
It says a lot about our schools.
I'm just eyeballing this, and just so you know, I think every single district has greatly higher per pupil spending per district than we do, and they're still coming to our school district. So that just talks to how efficient we are with our dollars and how strong our staff is. So kudos to you, Mr. Ferguson, and the entire staff. 211 people decided to send their kids here, so it's a lot.
Okay. Number 2, move transportation.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Cashin? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travers?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer,
Yes.
and Mr. Ray. Yes.
Number 3 there is the board to approve memorandum of understanding between the Genoa School Board and the GAEA for revision to our co-curricular schedule there. Girls assistant golf coach is moving to head girls golf coach.
Motion to approve.
Second. Mr. Cashin? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Rayner? Yes.
Okay, number 4, need the board to approve a OC Local 462 one-year contract.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Cashin? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Rayner? Yes.
Number 5, ask the board to approve the high school handbook for the 21-22 school year.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Cashin? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Rayner? Yes.
Ask the board to approve number 6, formal transportation routes for the 21-22 school year. Mr. Goodwood, thank you again. I'm guessing this year was a little easier than last year. No. No, sorry. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for all your efforts in getting that done. I know it's not easy.
These are the preliminary, finals will be next month.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Still subject to possible change.
Second.
Mr. Cashin? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Rayner? Yes.
Number 7 there will be taken into executive session. Okay, number 8, ask the board to approve the school fees policy.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Cashin? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Rayner? Yes.
Okay, number 9, we've discussed these, both number 9 and 10. So on number 9, ask the board to approve mask required for all students and staff.
Either way, we have to say so moved. We have to do
Yeah.
a vote.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Cashin? Strong reservations. No. Mrs. Lewis?
No.
Mr. Travis?
No.
Mr. Trainer?
No.
And Mr. Rayner? No.
Number 10, ask the board to approve masks are recommended but not required.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Cashin? Yes. Mrs. Lewis?
Yes.
Mr. Travis?
Yes.
Mr. Trainer?
Yes.
And Mr. Rayner? Yes.
No, that's,
Don't do it. All right, we will be going into executive session to consider the employment contract of a public employee. Thank you for your attendance, and no decisions will be made in that executive.
Can I just say one thing real quick? I just want to ask that all of you in this room talk to your children when you go home, because there's going to be kids with masks on. And they need allies in this school more than ever before. And I'm going to ask that your children are those allies and support those children. And we don't, There was a lot of concern, I think, about bullying of kids not wearing masks. And I will tell you, in our district, I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the other direction. And as you all came in here and said how important it was that you have the right to do that, kids are mean. I don't know if you know that. Kids can be very mean. And with this recommendation, I'm really going to ask that you do your part as parents and make sure that your students are role models when it comes to that. So.
Motion to go into executive. Can you clarify, was there action or no action afterwards?
There may be action.
Maybe.
We'll see
Okay,
there.
what was the motion? You were going to executive.
I'm sure you'll all be here when we get back. So.
Keith was second. Mr. Patrick.
Yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Travers.
Yes.
Mr. Trainer. And Mr. Rankin.
Yes.
Okay, executive session in 8:22.
Yes. Mrs. Lewis.
Yes.
Mr. Trevor.
Yes.
Mr. Trainer.
Yes.
And Mr. Wright.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to
If
adjourn.
there's nothing else, I do need
Do a good job.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, Christie is the motion.
Second.
Keith is the second. Mr. Cashin. Yes.